So we're here outside where we typically end up filming in the real world with inconveniences like birds and planes and traffic and people walking by saying things. So we're gonna be miking up these two lovely people, Brittany and Pete, and Amanda's gonna be helping me out with that. We're gonna use a couple of simple rigs from Ursa to do a black t-shirt and a button-up shirt. Looking at these, what would you imagine is a good place to put a mic? Just to hear your thoughts on it.
Put a mic, we can always tuck one in the collar there.
In the collar, okay.
For like you, just because the shirt looks a little bit more light, maybe just in the middle is a good spot.
I like going in the middle whenever possible. So if we do with Pete's collar, if he looks to the side that the mic is on, his voice is gonna get louder. And if he looks away from it, then it's gonna get a lot softer. So maybe we'll try and go in the middle as well. We actually have a tool, I think, that'll work fairly well for this. This is one of the new things that Ursa makes. It is called a Furry Strip. It comes in, there's 3 different colors. This is the multi-pack. But if you feel that, the idea is either it can be placed in a way to lessen sound from something nearby. So if you have like a jacket on top of the mic, you could put it underneath the jacket or against the jacket, so the fur is rubbing against the noisy thing, like a rain jacket or something. So then as the shirt moves around, it's the fur touching the mic, which is silent, rather than maybe like a scratchy shirt material. So we're gonna use this black furry strip, and we're gonna use something called a mini mount. A mini mount is just this little piece of plastic here that you can stick a microphone kind of right into the middle bit here. So if I give you this microphone here, you can actually just push that end right into the plastic. There you go. And you see how you can change if it's sticking out the top a little bit or if it's kind of recessed into the plastic. So you can have more or less exposed if it might be touched or rubbed against or anything like that.
Nice.
So that's going to be for Pete, and we just have to have a way of sticking that on. So we have the Ursa, the premium Stickies. It's kind of like a bit of like a foam kind of tape. So we're going to use one of these, and I'm actually going to give it to you to kind of preset one side on there. It's got these nice little pull tabs on either side, so you can easily peel one side or the other. So I'll give you that, and you can stick one end onto the flat side, exactly.
Are the sides interchangeable?
Yes, there's the same sticky on both sides of it. There you go.
There.
Awesome. I would love to go about as high up as we can, because if we go down here, we start to get much further away from his mouth than we would need to. And if we, in this case, you have the top button open, so I'm assuming that's how it's gonna look, and we're just gonna work with that look. So what we'll do is we can either put the microphone on this side or on that side, but then whichever one we do, we're gonna put the black furry strip facing it. So it's kind of like furry strip right here with fur going out, and then microphone right here. So then you have, like the plastic bit would be interacting with the fur.
Right.
So as it moves around, as the shirt moves, it would stay silent. I always struggle peeling these things back because my nails are always just destroyed. So a simple way to do it is actually just give it a little tear, and then the wax paper comes off super easily. So let's go, I think we'll go mini mount on the body side and the furry strip on the outer side. So we have Pete mic'd up with a furry strip and a mini mount, kind of right in between the like the shirt buttons, like kind of where there's a little bit of an overlap. We're not too worried about the transmitter concealing right now. We're just worrying about how the mics sound out here. And for Brittany, we're gonna put a circle rig with a sticky circle and a fur circle, kind of right about on her sternum area. That's gonna be on the sticking to the bra underneath the shirt because of the thinner shirt material. So currently we have the microphone placed kind of in the middle of the sticky, which is great. But the trouble with this is if you do put a furry circle on top of that, is there's a good section of it which is not stuck down, it's just resting on the mic. And that can be an area where it can peel off or catch, or wind can get underneath it. So the way that we prevent that is we actually add another circle kind of overlapping it. So then we have a full, complete circle of stickiness. So I'm gonna give you that to, again, pull the tab off and add it on top, and just kind of smoosh it down around. Very nice.
Like this?
Yep, just like that. And you kind of get it nice and pressed down. It's okay if it wrinkles, doesn't really change its performance.
How does that look?
That looks great.
Perfect.
We can peel off the yellow tab, and I'll give you one of the fur circles. They do have a tendency to shed a little bit when they're brand new. but after a couple of uses, they usually have a good 5 to 10 uses depending on how gentle or how rough they've been treated. So I'm gonna give that to you. We're gonna put the flat side onto the sticky. And the direction of the fur doesn't matter too much, just kind of as long as it's on. So we're gonna wire you up now. We're gonna use the exact same LAV bullet that we used before. And that connector is just like a push lock.
Just like a push lock? Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
So you can pass that to Brittany. She can drop
There you go,
that
Brittany.
down.
Thank you.
And so the ideal place that we're looking for is kind of right around this area here, but we're looking for a spot that isn't too high up so you don't get the chin shadow. Because if it's kind of like up here in the neckline area, your chin actually creates a bit of like an odd pocket where your voice doesn't sound so full. And if you go too far down, then it can either be a little bump underneath the bottom part of the shirt. It's also where you tend to sweat early on. And then it's also too far away from the mouth. So we're looking for that little happy medium part where the shirt is kind of resting over top and we don't see the shape. If you want to take off the sticky and, you can help her by just kind of fishing some of the cable. Yeah, that's a good spot. As long as that's comfortable for you, then that's great. Cool, and we can connect, we'll pull down the excess cable. We don't want to like pull it so it doesn't come off. There we go. And then if you want to just spin a little bit, we'll connect that to the transmitter.
Is there an ideal way to wrap this?
We'll connect it first, and then I just tend to like loosely wrap it around like 2 or 3 fingers.
Cool.
For that pouch, there might not be enough space to tuck the cable, so you could put it in a back pocket for now. As again, we're not too concerned about hiding the transmitter or the mic right now. We're just listening to the effectiveness of the rig. Why don't we have you two continue to argue about what does or doesn't go on pizza, but I'm actually gonna have you walk to that bench.
You legitimately put pineapple on nachos?
Yeah. Why, like, well, if you think about it, if it's pizza, it's just carbs, melted cheese, and you're okay with the pineapple, so
Yeah.
why doesn't that work for nachos?
It's just the flavor. It's not necessarily the macros.
I'm not worried about the macros. I'm worried about the connection.
That's so funny.
What's your go-to pizza?
I have a weird, like, nostalgic thing for pepperoni, green peppers, and mushroom.
Oh, we've had this conversation
I think we have,
recently.
yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's just like a weird, like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's what your dad would get.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if it was just like the deluxe option
Yeah.
at whatever the pizzeria was down the road
Yeah.
or whatever, but yeah, that's my thing.
First thoughts to you, if you were handed this same exact situation, listen to that, how do you feel about the results of how it sounds with this?
I thought it was pretty good. I didn't hear much like ruffling or anything like that. I thought it was pretty good.
I know a common thing is like kind of like touching your chest as like you're talking,
Yeah.
or like some kind of, maybe there's like some kind of like a gesture or whatever, like we're brushing against your shirt. I would like to hear just one at a time. Pete, if you want to start, just like kind of adjust your shirt a bit.
Yeah.
Just listening for any abrasive rustles. Okay, there's a little bit when you kind of do like lift up from the shoulders.
Yeah.
You can hear there's a little bit there. But that actually might be the shirt against your chest hair. I'm not sure if that's the rig itself.
That feels like it might be up here and it's just being... Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so that works fairly well then for absorbing shirt sounds. For Brittany, if you want to kind of like do a little bit of that sort of thing as well, just without talking, go ahead. A bit of hair adjustment. Okay, so there's a little bit with like the shirt kind of going down and going up, but I don't hear much else. Good, and for you, it's actually on your skin. How does it feel comfort-wise?
Oh, great. I can barely feel it.
And there's no like weight tugging or pulling or anything as you're moving around?
No.
Cool. I'd say then overall these are pretty simple, pretty successful, and they sound pretty good. Let's try another outfit. We need to come up with mic rigs that can deal with whatever our actors show up to set wearing. So right now we've got Pete with a open jacket and a t-shirt, and we have Brittany with a pullover hoodie. And we need to find a couple of mic rigs that are gonna work with these. So I think what we might do is we're gonna try 2 rigs on each, and we're gonna compare how the 2 sound. You saw what we have to work with. So we're looking for a location first. If we need to, we can always ask them, can you like kind of interact with, like shake it a little bit, kind of have a listen to, like, is it noisy? It's basically a silent jacket, so I don't think we're gonna have problems like we would with like a leather jacket or a rain jacket.
I do have a question. Do you think it should go more towards like the center of his chest or more like towards the collar?
We try to go towards the center as much as possible because it's the most even distance if you're looking left or right. Your voice doesn't move closer or further to the mic if it's on one collar or the other. So if possible, we're gonna go to the middle, but with an open jacket, if we're sticking to the jacket, we would obviously have to pick a side.
Okay. In that case, maybe somewhere around here.
Okay. The one thing we have to watch for is how easily it opens up. So it does have like a bit of like a little bend right here. So if we kind of go down here towards the button, that's staying a bit more flat just because of how the material's resting. So if we're in this area, I think that might work. And then also the nice thing is because it's kind of opening up and it's not gonna be closed, we'll have almost a clear line of sight from the mic to the mouth and it won't be completely closed in with cloth.
Right.
If we have too much cloth around, it can actually suffocate the sound and it sounds like someone's hiding under a blanket and yelling at you to let them out. What you're holding in your hand is a Ursa Foamie Pad. There's 2 or 3 millimeters of foam and a little bit of wax paper on the back, so it's got like a sticky glue on one side, squishy surface on the other. So what we can do is we can stick a microphone behind there with the capsule kind of just poking out towards the edge so it's not buried and sticky, and then the foam can serve as a silencer for what it's against.
Right.
Peel off the wax, it should come off pretty easily. The foam won't tear, but the paper will. There you go.
So about there, so it's just poking out a bit?
Yeah, let's try that. Because it's going to be under the jacket, it should be fairly shielded from wind.
Do you mind if I just take a peek?
Go ahead.
How about right here, Nathan?
Let's try that. That looks like a good spot to start. Now, if I can pause you for just a moment, if you open this up a little bit, you can see, looking at it this direction, there's not that much of the foamy that's holding on. Like the most of the glue surface area is on top of the mic, and the contact point is a thin strip over here and a thin strip over there. So in that situation, if there's too much pulling or tugging on the cable, it can dislodge it because there's not a lot of like glue holding it on. So if that's a concern, you could have the foamy, you put the mic exactly how you put it on there, and then just add the sticky on top of the microphone. Now you have a full surface of stickiness. But we'll see how it works, and if it comes off, then we know that this wasn't a good rig.
Okay.
Okay, so Pete's now mic'd up. So Brittany, you've got a pullover hoodie. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to hide a mic in that little overlap right underneath your neck. It might cause a bit of like a chin shadow sound where you kind of lose some of the resonance of the chest, but you're also out of line of sight from the lips, so you don't get that higher clarity. The new Ursa Foamie Pro. So the only difference between the old versions and this is actually the texture of the foam itself. This is a much softer version. In this rig, what we do is we just push the microphone into one end and you can kind of like just work itself through until it's kind of just poking at the top. And we can kind of push, we can pull, we can squish, and just get it worked through. There we go. So now we can got a little bit of the capsule sticking out. We can push it further out if we were, let's say, indoors. But when you're outdoors and there's more possibility of wind, receding it back into the foam a little bit can sometimes just be a little bit nicer. Because of how the fold in the hoodie here is, like it's kind of down on to the right, I think we'd want the cable to be going this direction rather than that direction. And we're gonna try and tuck it right into that little crevice right here. So the way we're gonna hold it in there is just with a simple safety pin. Nothing fancy. Okay, there you go.
Okay, so where exactly do I do it?
So you're actually gonna stab through the foam.
Okay.
So the foam is actually gonna hold the weight of the mic and it's gonna hold the weight of the mounting onto the sweater as well.
Okay. Ooh, this is tricky. Okay. Almost got it.
Very nice.
There we go.
It's a little bit visible, so we might have to push it back a bit depending on what the camera shot was. If it was further back, like a wider shot, it wouldn't be too big of a deal. If it's like a tighter close-up coverage, you might be able to kind of rearrange it by an inch, half an inch or so. But let's have a listen.
I used to go to Starbucks to get a venti caramel macchiato. Now I just create a entire pot of coffee and drink the whole thing.
Oh my God.
Like
Just black coffee?
no,
or?
I put some cream in it.
Nice.
Yeah. How about you?
I was black coffee since I was like grade 6.
Oh.
And then my dentist asked if I'm a smoker because I drink black coffee, and now I've just recently started putting milk in it.
Wow.
Yep, because that was not great.
In grade 6.
So, yes, that's why I'm so short.
What are your thoughts about how they sound?
I think I heard a little bit of ruffling. I don't know if it's from the hoodie, it might be from the jacket. I noticed a little bit of that, but otherwise it sounded really good.
Yeah, so Brittany, your voice to my ears just standing in front of you doesn't sound the way that it does through my headphones with the mic where it is.
Oh, interesting.
So like if we throw headphones on again, and then Brittany, if you just count backwards from 10.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5.
It's kind of
4.
got a nasally tone to it. Do you hear that?
I can hear it,
That's just
So
me.
I think that it's our chin shadow thing that we were talking about. Great mounting spot. It's not going to go anywhere. It's very secure, but it's just a little bit too close to the base of the neck.
Also,
So
it's like the mic is facing away.
it's an omnidirectional
so
mic.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, it can point any way.
Even
Oh.
through the foam?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah, the foam it's acoustically transparent. So even if you pull it back into the foam or push it all the way through, it'll be the location of it. Let's try 2 different rigs because the jacket rustle is an issue and the chin shadow is an issue. So let's do something different. Let's actually switch rigs. So we're going to use the Foamie Pro with Pete, and we're going to use a Foamie Pad with Brittany. For Brittany, we're going to try and basically same rig of like sticking the foamy to the sticky outside to the world, but we're going to do that right here on the inside of the hoodie. And with Pete, we're going to actually try and pin, I think there was nothing wrong with the location. I think it's just the fabric moving. If you want to take the foamy off of him, we can get rid of it.
I also noticed it was starting to come off a little bit on the one side as well.
So that could have added to some of the jacket rustle, because if it's moving with the jacket and rubbing and there's not that much adhesive that's in contact, then there's less of it holding it in place. And as it peels away, you'll then have like the sound of sticking and unsticking as it moves with the jacket. So that could have been some of the rustle noise. One reason I love using the safety pins instead of sticking a foamy to cloth is, I'll just demonstrate this here. With the foamy attached to one side, if I'm rubbing it against something, it actually mechanically moves with the movement instead of being stuck and then rigidly scraping back and forth. So for this, because the jackets tend to kind of go up and down as like our arms going backwards and forward, we're not going to mount it vertically, we're actually going to mount it horizontally. We're going to try and pick the same location because I think acoustically it was good without the walking movement. So I'm going to pass that to you to install. We'll have it receded back into the foam a little bit just to keep a bit of wind out of it. It's not a huge concern today, but can help a little bit. Pete's all rigged up now. Visually, it's fairly concealed. If we needed to, we could push it further back in or change color, but we're just gonna see how that works for now. All right, so we're gonna use a white foamy, even though it's gonna be underneath the clothes and we're not gonna see it. I like color coding. We're gonna do the little tear, pull off the wax paper, but we're gonna add on our extra help with the sticky to make a little sticky sandwich. If it does fall, hoodies have a way of, there's so many contact points with the heavier material, the actors sometimes don't even feel that the mic has fallen. And we're gonna add on a sticky circle behind that. Yeah, there we go. Same idea for how it goes on, but let's just do that. And my thinking there is there might be just a bit of extra surface area on either side for the sticky to kind of create a sandwich.
Sweet.
There you go. Very nice, and we can peel that off. And if you want to stick it to the inside of your own hoodie or have help.
Which side goes on to the, that's the hoodie?
So white,
Yeah.
soft foamy
That's
side
the
towards
sticky
you.
part, that makes sense. That's why I'm not in sound.
So we don't want to be too aggressive by pushing like a fingertip into it, because then it can kind of warp it and then you have like a nice little dot. But I think your material is heavy enough that it's kind of concealed. Could we relocate from there to right there.
Yep.
So we just moved from right here, which is right underneath the seams, and it's also got this nice thick baffle in between the mic location and her mouth. We've now moved down to here, just a bit further away. There's a bit of more air behind where the mic is existing, because if you have a slight pocket of air around a mic capsule, it tends to sound a bit more open, a little bit less muffled, a little less constricted.
I got tangled in the headphones.
You know what? I used to be a cat guy,
Yeah.
just because I value beings that have their own independence.
Yeah, fair.
But I love me a dog.
Yeah.
Love me a dog. What about you?
Besides my cat, Shaky, that R.I.P., love him.
Yeah.
I think dogs in general are easier to love.
Easier to love.
Yeah, you know,
enough.
like
Yeah.
it's a personality. You
Yeah.
can love cats,
Yeah, they're pretty
but you
rude.
usually love your cat, not all the cats.
That's true. Fair enough.
I'm hearing a better sound from you. It sounds more natural. There's a
Nice.
better low end because it's closer to the chest resonance area. It's further away from your chin, so there's a bit more openness to it. It's not as good as yours, and I think that is because of your mic has open air between where it is and your lips.
Right.
You still have a hoodie in between the mic and your mouth. However, that can be quite easily fixed with a little bit of EQ in post. It's always easier if it's already captured on site, but it can be fixed. How do you two feel about these?
Great.
I don't even notice
Yeah,
it's there.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, let's do another rig. Little bonus here. We're doing some mic rigs and testing them outside where there's real world interferences like planes, wind, people, dogs, all kinds of noises. We have a dress that we're gonna have to rig up. And I usually for these tests just do like a simple belt pack, just for simplicity because we're testing the mic rigs. But we're gonna use a Ursa sideways thigh strap, and it has a very grippy inside lining to it. So that is quite sticky. On the side here, it's very smooth, but right in the middle, it's got a lot of grip to it. So as that's holding onto skin, onto a thigh, it won't slip down even if you're running full tilt. But on the other side here, the pack is gonna go sideways here, and the antenna kind of tucks into this little pouch here, and then just kind of follows around the leg.
It also doesn't feel like heavy, thick silicone where it would be uncomfortable. Like it feels really nice, yeah.
It still has a little bit of stretch to it actually. So this goes in very simply. Hold that open a little bit, depending on how big the transmitter is that's going in. Just drop it in, and then push the antenna in there so then it rolls around with it and it doesn't poke out. And I try to go just a bit on the inside so then we don't have like a bump sticking on the outside, or because sometimes depending on what angle it is, it's a little bit more visible. I'm gonna pass this around to me. There we go, and there. Does that feel tight enough or do you want it tighter?
Maybe a little tighter.
A little tighter? Okay.
Perfect.
That?
Yeah, that feels
Feels
great.
good. Give you the LAV bullet to drop down. Thank you. Cool. So let's pull about yay much. I'll just wrap the excess up and probably tuck it into the antenna pouch. Keep it from getting too cluttered. There you go. We've got Brittany with a summer dress on. We have Pete with a summer hoodie on. And I hope we can get through this without roasting him too quickly. For these two outfits, I think what we're gonna try and do is we're gonna go on the inside of your hoodie, right around the logo area. We're gonna actually stick a Foamie Mini Pro with a premium sticky from Ursa to the back of it. So I think that the space from the Foamie, because it's gonna create just like a little gap around the mic, I think that space is going to be good enough to have like a more open sound, but the logo is going to prevent us from seeing the shape of it. I think what we're going to do with the dress is we actually might try sticking to the dress itself. It's warm outside and try not to stick adhesive straight to skin unless we have to. But we're going to try and use a soft, a furry strip. So then the fur will actually be going back and forth against the skin rather than stuck to skin, sweating off, and then the dress pushed against it and rubbing back and forth on the fur. So we're gonna see how well that works. So we'll start with Pete again. Get one of these very black new mini Foamie Pros and push that onto the microphone for us.
Perfect.
So I'm just gonna push the microphone in from the back of the Foamie And because it's going to be underneath the hoodie, we're going to try and keep the capsule from poking out very much. So then it's always touching just foam and not rubbing against t-shirt or hoodie material. That's good.
Sweet.
I'm going to give you this premium sticky to put on one side of the Foamie, and then you're going to reach just inside and stick it to the back of the logo.
1 second.
Either side. Now with these new the Foamie Pros, rather than just the previous generation Foamie, you can actually unstick and re-stick onto the foam and it won't disintegrate the foam. Previously, if you ever pulled Stickies off of them, it took half the foam with it and it was just ruined. If you needed to, if you put it in the wrong spot, you could peel it off. You can see it didn't take any foam with it, and it's actually still quite sticky. So it's kind of reusable to an extent. So this is going to go sticky side out to the world, right behind the skull logo. I'm just going to reach right inside here and just kind of feel, push against it there. So that was a very fast. And with the dress, we're going to use these little furry strips. So these are quite large. You can always cut them down to size. It's very simple. You just need a simple pair of scissors. The mic is going to be kind of in the middle bit, but if I put it right there, that's just a lot of surface material. We're going to use about half of that. So I'm just going to snip that guy.
But that is going on the fabric, right? Not her skin?
Yes. So we're going to stick this with the sticky side here against the dress. And then the furry section is going to be against her skin, so it should be soft, it shouldn't be uncomfortable. And we want the mic capsule to be just on the edge, if not poking out a little tiny bit from the stickiness, so then it's not gonna get any of that tape sound if it were to like come off and on a little bit.
Okay. So we're going for the middle, right?
Yeah, so we're gonna put the microphone onto it first.
So like this?
We can push the capsule up just a little bit more.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. So we can stick that on, and there's lots of surface area on both sides, so that should be a lot of adhesive. And the area that we're gonna go for is kind of right in the little tiny gap there where there's just material and there's air. That's where we want it to go. There's lots of folds in the fabric, so it should hide any shape that like the rectangular stickiness would create. There's no way you could see that. There's too much activity on the fabric, so that's pretty well hidden.
I've been loving Puerto Vallarta recently.
Yeah.
Especially in the winter, just like getting that vitamin D.
Yep.
But I'd love to do like Europe or Thailand or honestly anywhere. What about you?
Europe is my favorite right now.
Yeah, where specifically?
Oh, I'm just loving the whole continent
Yeah, there you go.
because there's so much to see and they're so different.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to go very far. It's a completely different culture.
Yes.
I love these rigs. I think they sound fantastic.
Yeah, this sounds perfect to me.
Yeah, the only thing that I could think of to be a possible issue would be if you were doing a lot of activity. So like if you were sprinting across a field, if you're climbing in and out of vehicles, if you're going through any small space or catching a ball or picking something up, if there's like a lot of activity that would like pull and push on fabric at all, it might dislodge the stickiness. Sometimes if there's a lot of activity, I'll add a safety pin somewhere in the cable. A simple technique is just to tie a knot in the middle of the cable, then poke a safety pin through the middle of the knot with slack past the knot. So then if there's any pulling or tugging, it yanks on the knot and the cable mount stays stuck. Right here on the cable, if I can anchor that part down somehow, this has a lot of play and I could be pulling back here, but it's not going to dislodge the mic at all because there's this little gap here. So I just need to anchor that somehow. If you make a little knot, just like that, most cables can handle that with no issue. And then you just stab a safety pin through the middle of the knot and say, we'll do this on the outside for demonstrative purposes. Poke that through, and then if I mount this just below, cinch up the knot a little bit. Now if you just rotate a little bit this way, now, depending on where the tension's coming from, the mic stays put even though, let's say, getting in and out of a vehicle or a tight space is limiting on like how far your body can move with how the pack is. The knot will take up a lot of that tension. That's often used as well with over-the-shoulder rigs. So if I ran a mic up your back and then over a shoulder, I get a safety pin right at one of the thick seams on a shoulder, and then let the mic cable drape to wherever I needed to go. Now I have the extra of it going, the friction of it going over your shoulder, as well as the safety pin itself holding the knot in place. And that's can be a good technique for keeping anything from going wandering.